Okay, this is a 2000 model Ford Ranger that we went in and found an easier way to replace the heater core. For those of you who are ASE certified mechanics, you'll probably look at this and say, oh, I wouldn't have done it that way. First, we remove the glove box. Once you remove the glove box, there's two places under here with two 10mm bolts to remove the airbag. Disconnect the battery and wait about 15 minutes before removing the airbag. Once you unbolt it, there's a plug in here. The wire came out with it. It was easy to remove. This is a reinforcement bracket that holds the airbag. We had to take the 10mm screws and the other little screws here out to remove this bracket. Once we remove the airbag and the support brace, there's a control module box mounted here. Had two screws in it, and that you mash the clip and unplug it, and it came right out. This fiberglass unit is the air ductwork for the dash vents. It's made out of a heavy gauge fiberglass. We went in, removed this upper panel to have access to see what was in behind the fiberglass vent. And behind it is a small piece of ductwork for your dash vent here. And it was very easily removed. We backed it up off of that vent. And then it was clipped at the box. A little bit of prying and it come loose. It's got little barbs on it that holds the hose. Once we removed that vent, we were able to see that we had access to the back of the air duct work. There's one big 13mm bolt that secures the center part of the vent there to the firewall. We went in with the depth of our hacksaw blade set just long enough to cut through the duct work, being very cautious of the wiring harness. Try to keep it all above the areas we were cutting. Once we did, we were able to remove this section of the air duct vent. Okay. Once we had removed the section of ductwork, this retaining plate covers the top of the heater core. It's got two screws in the front, one in the center of that recess spot on the back side of the heater core, one to the far right. I was able to get to them with a 1/4" drive ratchet set. The last one, although, that was all the way to the front up against the firewall, I could not reach that final screw. It took quite a bit of persuasion to remove this cover from the top of the heater core. As you can see, I broke it there and then took a big screwdriver, went underneath right where the screw was, and popped this final piece here off. Once that was removed, I could see the top of the core and the top of the heater box. I came in and removed the vacuum lines from this right hand corner and brought them back around to the left hand side out of my way. And I here again went with a sawzall with a short depth set on the saw blade to just cut the exterior front panel of the heater core. Of course, not being too concerned with striking the old core, it was already bad. Once we were able to remove this single walled piece of plastic from the heater box, we then had access to remove the original heater core. We were able to remove the original heater core. These are the tubing pieces removed from the new heater core. We cut them with a tubing cutter to shorten them up. The holes in the firewall were just big enough to be able to slide a 5/8 heater hose through the grommet in the firewall. We put our core in, brought the hoses in after we had removed these sections of pipe from it to be able to slide it back in easily to do no damage to the new core. We have fastened our hoses inside with two new clamps to secure good seal. then you were able to put the core back in its original position, and then I can fasten these pieces back in place with sealer so that it still functions the same as original. When I put the cover back on, I'm going to trim it here so it would be easy to reinstall to close the top of the heater box back up. On the other side, in the engine compartment, this is the original heater control valve that cuts the hot water circulation off to the original heater core. Once we had brought our new hoses through attached to our new heater core, we'll be able to cut them the same length as the original, judging by the distance from the firewall, to be able to tie back into the rest of the factory system. And that hopefully will help you with your repair and save you time.